I'm Stephen Holt, and this is News 4 Now for Wednesday, January 23rd. First, we'll talk about the forecast. The rain is moving in tonight. Tomorrow looks like it's going to be a washout, but it'll be warmer with highs in the 50s. Now to the news, and after days of back and forth over President Trump's State of the Union address, it is officially postponed. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said in a letter to President Trump that the House wouldn't authorize the yearly address until the end of the partial government shutdown, now in its 33rd day. That came just hours after President Trump wrote to the Speaker saying he would deliver the speech as planned on Tuesday. And you may remember last week the Speaker asked the President to consider delivering the address in writing if the shutdown was still on. President Trump is now claiming Pelosi called off the speech because she's afraid of the truth.
She doesn't want to hear the truth, and she doesn't want to hear, more importantly, the American people hear the truth. So we just found out that she's canceled it, and I think that's a great blotch on the incredible country that we all love.
In Queens, investigators are trying to figure out what sparked a fire that killed a woman and injured 2 others, including a 5-month-old baby. The fire erupted just before 2 at a home along 158th Street in Jamaica, Queens. It then spread to neighboring houses. Firefighters pulled that woman from an upstairs bathroom. Sadly, she died not long after. The baby and the other person hurt are expected to survive. The white supremacist who stabbed a black man to death with a sword on a street in Manhattan has pleaded guilty. James Jackson attacked 66-year-old Timothy Kaufman back in 2017. He says he did it because Kaufman was black. Jackson pleaded guilty to murder as a crime of terrorism, murder as a hate crime, and criminal possession of a weapon. He's expected to be sentenced to life in prison without parole. Outrage today in a Brooklyn courtroom. A teen found guilty of dragging an NYPD officer with a stolen car was sentenced to just 16 months to 4 years in prison.
I've been a police officer for 35 years. I've never been so angry in my entire life.
PBA President Patrick Lynch fuming after the sentencing for 17-year-old Justin Morrell. Police and prosecutors were expecting a sentence of up to 10 years, but the judge decided on a shorter prison stint, citing the fact that the boy was just 15 at the time. Officer Dalsh Veve continues to deal with injuries that left him with severe brain damage and a life requiring 24-hour care. Finally, $238 million. Yep, that's how much someone just spent on an apartment in New York City. Billionaire Ken Griffin just closed on a penthouse at a 79-story building under construction along Central Park South. The sale price on the 24,000-square-foot home is a New York City record, more than doubling the price of the city's previous most expensive listing. It's also the most expensive home ever sold in the United States. That's all for News 4 Now, but keep on watching for a report on why rappers Meek Mill and Jay-Z are pushing for criminal justice reform. I'm Stephen Holt. Thanks for checking in.
Telling you this is who you are. A coalition of powerful voices.
We are all affected by this issue, so it's super important.
Famous faces like Jay-Z and New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft are using their star power to shine a light on criminal justice reform.
I'm like one of the lucky ones, even after all I went through, and you have people that don't have a voice, and I'm here to speak for the people who don't have a voice.
Rapper Meek Mill took the stage at the John Jay College of Criminal Justice to recount his highly publicized story. He was sentenced to 2 to 4 years in jail for a minor probation violation and ended up serving 5 months. His early release partly due to the international attention to his case. Now Meek Mill is focusing his attention on helping others who might not have a powerful voice.
They have a lot of media, they have a lot of star power, they have a lot of money.
NBC Dateline producer Dan Slepian has been following Meek Mill's story from the beginning and was there for his release.
You could tell that this wasn't the end of something, it was the beginning of something.
The Reform Alliance is starting with about $50 million, and they say the priority here is not to devote that money to attorneys, but to change the current probation and parole system.
This revolving door of a dysfunctional probation and parole system that's only designed to trick people back into the system and not to help them go home and do well, that's got to stop.
With commentator Van Jones at the helm, the group calling itself Reform says it's looking to work with people who've been in the fight for years.
Our country's spending tens of billions of dollars to incarcerate Americans, many that are minorities, that are no threat to society. This makes absolutely no sense.
And change the whole society. Reporting on the West Side, Rana Novini, News 4, New York.